waterbound, can't get home. Waterbound and can't get home. Waterbound, can't get home back to North Carolina. Old man's mad and I don't care. The old man's mad and I don't care. The old man's mad and I don't care as long as I get his daughter. So some of that putting fancy chords in, that makes some people mad, you know. And that'll be a theme tonight as I show you some of what Terry's developed. There's traditionalists and there's people that are trying to push the boundaries. And so that's kind of, I want to do one more before I plug it in, just so you can hear a little. So that's the sweet side of the dulcimer, I think. So I met Terry. When did I meet Terry? Back a long time ago.
97,
Covington.
Covington.
Okay, yeah, I was
February
21.
of 97.
We're doing the math right here.
I think you were filling in for David. He was sick.
So, but Terry made some dulcimers, and I've always got people trying to get me to like their dulcimers, but I actually liked his, and I emailed him years later and said, I'd really love for us to get together and work on instruments or something. But the oil boom happened, apparently. So he disappeared for about 10 years. Is that true? And then apparently the price of oil went down, and then he showed up again. But so I don't know at what point was it 7 years ago?
About 5.
Yeah. So we just
Around number 350 of the hourglass model, and we're at about 800 now. So
and I probably had 14, 15, or 16 of his instruments, and then I would end up giving them back to him, and we just kept going through different iterations. So this kind of represents the latest one, and I think this is a good 1.0 for all the time we've spent together. And I'm going to show off some of the more modern stuff so you know what he's been up to. I feel like I'm doing a sales pitch at a convention a little bit.
they're not buying, so just entertain them.
So when you go to perform at a large venue, they turn everything up so loud that you can't really use microphones like you can in a small church or something. It'll just feed back and it turns into a mess. So there's electronic pickups. There's little piezo crystals in here, and those crystals vibrate and give off electricity. And so that's what I'm going to let you hear. I hope.
You turn the amp on.
Thank you.
We don't have much of an amp.
All this is a little new as of this weekend. So what you're hearing now is not a microphone, it's these crystals in there. That's a Texas, isn't it? So that's really handy. Now the trick is, a lot of people who make these, they make them for guitars. And then dulcimer builders try to put them in dulcimers, and there's always something wrong with them. Sometimes there's a lot of noise, but he actually found, we tested a lot of companies and he made them clean. And it's very useful if I go to a big, large event where they have loud sound. That'll really be a great thing. So it doesn't sound exactly acoustic, but it's pretty close, you know, it sounds like an acoustic instrument. There's another pickup here. This is a magnetic pickup. There's crystals in here vibrating. This is a magnet with wire coiled around it. So let's hear a little bit of that. Let's see. Terry, you know what I just did, don't you? Did I just show him the wrong one? Might have. So all these knobs over here, there's a lot going on. Let's see. And this is more like a electric guitar a little bit. Traditionalist would be mad at this, but he did it very well. Some of those notes that aren't there.
I asked you to learn that song probably 3 years ago. I didn't know you did.
Oh, I learned that when I was 17.
Well, you didn't tell me when I kept trying. I said, Barbara and I used to date, and I loved that song.
I love that tune.
Yeah. Had a '59 Chevy with a reverb in the trunk. Crank that baby up.
You had a reverb?
Yeah, it had the springy kind of reverb.
Really?
Oh, so cool. It made it sound so big. But you'd hit a bump going down the road and go boing.
So, do you know what a spring reverb is? Do you know what a slinky is?
Yes.
So you can connect the audio wire on one end of the slinky to the other, and the slinkiness of it makes it sound like reverb.
Yeah, that was.
So one benefit of this
8-track
magnetic electric pickup is it allows me to do some things like show you what spring reverb maybe sounds like.
Oh, great.
So this is, let's see. I don't know much about this, but they've been modeling they've been modeling old tube equipment and they somehow model an old thing and then stick it in this box so you can get a little taste of it. So listen
So
to
the box
this.
is picking up the frequency and it can shape it to sound like different things.
So that's like a spring reverb a little bit. And people talk about it sounding drippy. Here's some drippiness. Let's hear this.
What he can do with that box is he can configure it before a performance, knowing what he's going to be doing. And then he can just hit the button with his foot and change the whole program,
And it'll go to the next selection.
I think.
This is I'm gonna turn this. This is picking up the sound, but I'm gonna turn this one up now. He made it where I can pick up both of them a little bit because those crystals, you can hear it when you hit them. So I'll use that as an effect. So I let you hear the acoustic, and then we made it louder with a pickup, and now we're making it sound like rock and roll. What I like about this is I can make everyone mad about something in the dulcimer world. There's some people that like the old stuff. There's some people that like the new stuff. But since I've been doing this my whole life, it's very helpful to be able to match the situation I'm in, which is pretty cool. So if I don't want to hear that reverb, I could turn that off, and that shimmering sound and that echo, and turn that off. So now, look at this weird thing. Is this called a DIN plug, or it's a 13-pin DIN? So this wire holds, and I'm being more technical because you know Terry. There's 13 wires in here, and it allows you to send a lot of stuff back and forth. Each one of these strings, he's set up so it comes out. I can get individual strings on individual wires.
Why would you want that?
Well, there's all kinds of interesting nerdy reasons, but the best one is there's a device that will turn audio into digital information.
Oh, okay.
And by isolating the strings, it does that cleaner, and it turns that into computer information. So right now, though, it's just 3 sounds coming out this cable, and they go into this synthesizer. And the synthesizer sees 3 notes coming in, and it converts that into data that I can then apply to crazy sounds.
You can make it sound like a trumpet.
That's the idea. But before we go there,
Let's back up a bit.
let's see. So that's like a string sound. And I'm gonna put a little reverb on here and just do an old Irish tune. I can turn those strings up here a little bit. One neat thing about this is I can play a chord, hit this pedal, and it'll hold the chord. So when I play solo, it's nice to have a little bit of a string section. So that's pretty neat. And then there's more extreme effects. Ultimately, I'm going to have to figure out how to use this thing where most people in the audience don't really know what I'm doing. Just want it to sound
And
good.
he has a switch on the dulcimer, so a lot of that he can actually change programs.
Yeah, this is really cool. So, like this is a flute here. And I'm going to turn off the dulcimer sound for a second. What was that? So that's a flute sound, but then I can use this to change it to be a singer's.
That's awesome.
That's kind of crazy.
It,
Isn't it?
it,
Everyone's impressed with that, so for sure.
it will actually can play in a key that he's not tuned to. I mean, like, he can set it up to be like a bass fiddle. And
So
it
I-
actually takes a signal and shifts it a whole octave.
I mean, even when you were playing it acoustic, it sounded very versatile. Like for me, never hearing one played before, it sounded like it could sound like several different instruments already.
Even without
this,
plugging it in.
yes, even without plugging it in.
That's right.
So I mean, like this already is. Ooh.
out there.
10 levels beyond, yeah.
Now, who's gonna take orders for these instruments?
For a first time
Exactly.
listener, you know,
Well, yeah.
to keep that in mind.
I think it's true. Like you could have a MIG welder in your house, but only use it once a year. So I think of this. This is a whole shop full of tools.
It,
Here.
it does, it feels like it.
So this is a bass guitar sound, which could be handy sometimes. And he was saying you could change the notes, so I'm gonna make that note go down. How do I do that? There it is. Yeah, so now I got a real low note. This speaker's not really made for bass. So
I
that's
get people that want me to build them a bass dulcimer, and I do that once in a while, but I hate it because the strings are so big. It's very hard to play. It doesn't really sound right, but that shifts everything down to that octave and it's still easy to play.
Haven't I seen some with 4 strings?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do both 4 and 3. But
So
we
do
want-
you play in a band or something, or
mostly by myself.
just by yourself?
But I
Honestly, you
there's some orchestra pieces for dulcimer, so I do that every once in a while.
West Virginia, they'll be like this.
There's the old Beatles tune. That works. It didn't like those high notes too much. So that's what we've been working on. That's what, and it's crazy, you know. Nobody will hardly appreciate how much went into this. That he knows metalworking, woodworking, you know, electronics, and that he wanted to do it, and that he could do it. Yeah, I'm thankful.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes with the community